Today we are going to be talking about Thor Ragnarok, or Thragnarok as I like to call it, so stay tuned. Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. Everybody, I am here with Joel, spoiler alert, Cunningham.
Calling me out. It's funny because of my tendency that we've recognized to spoil things and then explain that then apologize for spoiling things. So I'm going to try and keep that in check.
We're reining them in, folks. We're reining them in.
Trying to rein me in. We got in trouble with one of our viewers, listeners, calling me out on those. I'm trying, folks. I'm trying to not spoil.
It's a heat of the moment kind of thing.
Yeah, very much a heat of the moment. I am here with Matt. Something smells like a melty stick. Hey. You know what I'm talking about. That's, again, a minor spoiler, potentially.
No, it's not.
Not really.
It's not a spoiler because it's out of context. You have no idea what you're... If you haven't seen Thragnarok...
That was one of the funniest scenes.
Right.
But, I don't want to spoil it, though.
The whole movie was a funny scene.
That is very true. So I figured, because we're going to be talking about Thor, we'll probably be doing like a bit of spoiler talk. I'll try and save it.
We'll do a defined, hey, we're going to talk about spoilers at a certain point in time, and then you can tune out if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
But, Joel, why don't you go ahead and tell people how they get connected with us?
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Before we do that, real quick, synopsi.
I'm going to fix my headphones while you're doing that.
Synopsi? Go ahead and do that. So synopsi, or synopsis of what we do here, The Real Review. We're going to kind of give you a breakdown of this movie, Thor Ragnarok, from both a critic and a more of a fan perspective. So Joel's the critic, the analytical, the slightly negative, non-fun person to be around, where you have Thor, Just kidding. You have the person who likes the
wow.
You have the emotional.
Think very highly of yourself.
The
here,
emotional. That I have a comment on that later.
Okay.
So we have the more emotional fan based side, which is me, myself, and potentially unstable at times. But I tend to get wrapped up in the fun of it all and kind of overlook some things.
You're saying I'm like a big burning fire, and you're kind of more of like a mild little ember kind of burning.
No, that's not the picture I got in my head, but whatever.
Again, spoilers.
Anyways, so go ahead, Joel. Now break it down for everybody.
Yeah, so we have some great ways to get connected to the podcast or the vidcast, however you'd like to check us out. We've got the website, which is realreviewmedia.com. And then as always, we have our Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia. We'd love to get connected on either of those. Give us a like. And then additionally, we have our Twitter and Instagram, which are both at realreviewmedia. Love to get connected. And then, we'd love to hear thoughts, perspectives, input, whatever you think we're doing right, whatever you think we're doing wrong, maybe some ideas on shows that you would like us to check out for Tube Talk or something like that. Shoot us an email. It's realreviewmedia@gmail.com.
Totally do it.
There you go.
Make it happen.
It's happening.
It's going to happen. Anyways, let's just do this thing, man. Let's talk about Thor Ragnarok.
All right. Let's
You ready for this? Okay. So here is the synopsis of the film. Imprisoned, the almighty Thor finds himself in a lethal gladiatorial contest against the Hulk, his former ally. Thor must fight for survival and race against time to prevent all-powerful Hela from destroying his home and Asgardian civilization.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep, and this is directed by Taika Waititi, and
a New Zealander.
Yeah, who is awesome, by the way. We'll talk about that later. So we have Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Cate Blanchett, Idris Elba, Jeff Goldblum, Tessa Thompson, Carl Urban, Mark Ruffalo, Anthony Hopkins, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Taika Waititi, among others. But, man, I really like this movie, Joel.
Okay, nice.
I did. Really enjoyed this movie.
Good.
I would say, just an overall, this has been one of the more fun Marvel movies that I've seen in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Outside of probably Guardians of the Galaxy, I would consider it one of the funnier.
Right.
Under Guardians.
And not even just funnier,
probably
but like
1 and 2.
But just like some fun stuff and like really cool action. So let's just dive into the kind of what I thought about that. First of all of the main players in this movie, whether you're talking about Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie or Korg, or if you're talking about Cate Blanchett, Chris Hemsworth, whoever it may be,
Is it Cate Blanchett or Cate Blanchett? I know that sounds random, but
It's the same to me.
It's all Blanchett to me.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought everybody was really strong, and I really liked everybody's characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like the newcomers like Valkyrie, even the Hulk as the Hulk,
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed. But like Jeff Goldblum, even Jeff Goldblum's really funny in this. He does really well. I like his character, but he's basically just Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I've never seen Jeff Goldblum, I think, outside of his Goldbluminess. I think maybe the least I've seen him is probably the couple horror films that I know he's done, like The Fly.
Yeah, old
and then
school.
He did Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Old school Goldblum.
Yeah, like the old school version of him. He was the least like, oh yes, oh yeah.
Yes. Oh,
he does this
yes.
funny thing. I don't know if you noticed this, but I forget the comedian that talks about it, where he'll go down a thought and then completely at the very end of it divert. So he's like, oh, do I want a chicken? Do I want a turkey? Do I want? Oh wait, but I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, oh, that's Jeff Goldblum for you.
Yeah.
But I was really concerned about him.
Yeah.
We talked about this when they first announced that he was going to be on the project.
Yeah.
I was actually really concerned about him. But I was much happier after having seen what I did of him.
Yeah.
In both the trailers and the stuff at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. He got to go to Comic-Con, and I did not get to experience
There it
that
is.
fun stuff. But my favorite new person was the character of Korg, which is played by director Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Who's a motion capture alien, I guess.
It's a good way of putting it. It's like a rock alien.
Yeah. So, and that's not. Don't worry, guys. It's not spoiling anything. It's in the trailer. But the big thing with that is this movie it's really fun, and it's not. I was really concerned at first that it was going to be too jokey. There's a couple times I kind of felt this way in Guardians a little bit, but a couple times I was like, is this going to go this really jokey path? But it was able to rein it in a few times, and I was like, okay. I was like, okay, we're good. It got serious and needed to have those serious moments.
I think that was the big differentiator with the humor here as compared to Guardians. This movie kind of just had moments of humor that were like kind of all throughout.
Yeah.
Whereas Guardians had the same thing, but it would happen even in those tense moments as a means to kind of break that tension. And it did it a bit so much to the point where you're kind of like, I just wanted a tense moment. I didn't need a humor moment here. I was okay with it. But I know you kind of had a bit more of an issue.
I thought it was a little bit too jokey. The Guardians 2, by the way. Yeah, I thought it was a little too jokey. The Thor, though, I really like this. There's, and I said this last Marvel movie we talked about, which was Homecoming. And I was like, I remember saying, hey, I like this movie because I was kind of grinning the whole time. You know, I was grinning the whole time. It just made me, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
This movie, I was not just grinning the whole time. I was like, chuckling and laughing out loud a number of times. There's one at the very end. I don't know if I've ever laughed out loud as I laughed. We'll talk about it in the spoiler section. But I was like, it's so funny. This movie, if you're unfamiliar with Taika Waititi's previous work, he's known for his comedic flair, and if you've watched his interviews, he's a hilarious guy. Yeah, and
he's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
In the sense that he likes to find humor in things.
Yeah, and he'll like create scenes for like with the humor in mind, and the humor's never like a tacked on like afterthought. Yeah. So I appreciate him in that regard. But this movie's a lot of fun. In addition to it being a lot of fun, it has some really sweet action. The biggest thing that I took away from this movie, and I've told you this before, I didn't really care for the
Led
first
Zeppelin?
two films. Right. I didn't care for the first two Thor films that much. And even Thor as an Avenger, like, okay, Thor, you know, I've never really been a huge fan of his. I think this movie makes Thor cool. I've never thought as like makes him awesome.
Yeah. We don't want to talk too much about why, but I think they changed his character. Yeah. So in the sense of what they're trying to, his personality has been updated. Right. I think
not even just his personality, but like just kind of an update overall. I think it makes me excited to see him in future films. Right. And I've never felt that way about anything related to Thor at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering as well if that was just the direction that Taika wanted to take with this film, if that's something that's going to be consistent moving through, because he's had an edge of sort of that style as he's moved towards it in the last like iterations of like Avengers, but he hasn't fully embraced it until I think this film for sure. And it was almost like and this is in the trailers and everything, so I'm not spoiling anything here, but when they cut his hair, it was almost like this renaissance of sorts for like Thor and Loki and this new push, and they're taking his world in particular, the Thor world, into some very odd different types of environments and different types of characters, and it was almost like Star Wars-esque, where they're really taking you into the galaxy and experiencing all of the quirks of the characters and the languages and the cultures of these different places. I know Guardians has gone there, but I don't know. Their films felt more about like the cast of characters than really getting involved. This film was a huge aspect of this film was kind of the trash world that we're on almost the majority of the film. I will say I don't think I like this film as much as you. Potentially, it depends upon I don't know what.
119%, Joel.
You know, again, positive and more negative. I tend to see this film as a necessary step in moving toward the Infinity War stuff that's coming up. So it felt necessary and felt good, and I don't feel like I left the theater with a bad experience. Like I wasn't leaving going like, well, what was a waste of money or something. But at the same time, the big thing that, and we can't talk about too much of this until we get into spoiler talk, but I was left kind of going like, well, what significance? There was things happened in the film that were significant, but it never made me feel like they were significant while I was watching the film.
I gotcha.
And maybe it's just the general sense of like, I'm getting over Marvel or like superhero films. I hope not.
It's possible.
I still enjoy them. I'm like super excited for Infinity War and Black Panther and stuff. But like when I left, I just felt like, it was fun. I mean, it was all right. I enjoyed it. There was aspects that were good, but like, I would say for one thing, tension was really not there for most of the fights. I mean, I kind of knew from end to beginning, it's like, okay, I know where this is going to end for the most part. Like, they're not going to kill that person. They're not going to kill that person. That person's going to, they're going to have the story, the hero fall, and then the slow build rise up. And so I don't know.
I didn't see the twist coming at the end, and we won't talk about it right now, but I was like, oh, that's cool. I see that. But
it depends on the twist. There was a couple twists that you could potentially be
just a one. But I don't know. I
didn't even see anything as a twist to me. I felt like
it's not really a twist. It's just a storytelling arc that I enjoyed.
Okay.
And I the one thing that I thought was really cool, I did really like Cate Blanchett's character. I thought she started off really strong, and then her character,
she was softened.
Yeah,
in a weird way.
Lost a little bit of her bite at the end in some kind of a way.
Felt like
I don't know.
It felt like her character. Again, not getting into spoilers, but it felt like her character got bogged down in a lot of stuff that was happening around her.
Yeah,
and because of that, it felt like her story got bogged down.
Yeah,
she had an end game goal, and she was like pursuing that at the very beginning very heavily, and it was like boom, 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 and then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, now we got to hold you up for the rest of the film. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of see that move forward. I thought really what this film was going to be was Thor, hijacked and thrown into another planet, another system.
Realm or whatever.
And then the whole movie, for the most part, was going to be about him being this guy trying to pursue getting out of there.
Right.
And it ended up being a huge chunk of that, but it was a lot of jumping back and forth. A lot of like her trying to do things and not necessarily accomplishing it. And it jumped out a lot more so than I thought. I don't know. It just jumped out of his perspective a lot more than I thought that it would. And I think the other thing for me is that as much as I did enjoy the overall humor, it wasn't really funny. There was some moments where I definitely like laughed about it, but it wasn't like I was like, oh my gosh, that's so ridiculous. That's so funny. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, there was probably 3 or 4 moments where I was really laughing.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, not just like a chuckle. There was a couple good chucklers. I think the funniest part was probably close to the middle, when Thor's kind of first into this new world and kind of experiencing everything and the melty stick stuff, like I thought that was probably the funniest part for me.
I gotcha.
So,
so as far as like diving into some of the more negative aspects of it, I wanted it to have a little bit more, one being Cate Blanchett of, I felt like being weakened towards the end a little bit, just a random thought.
Yeah.
The other one being that I wanted there to be more tense moments. I
Yeah.
wanted to be a little bit more, and like the stakes were
Right.
there. Obviously, there were stakes, but
Right.
they weren't. The film wasn't played towards that.
That's kind of my point, and
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to say, but I can't say specifically what or
Right.
where without spoiling.
Right,
so we
right,
can talk
right.
about it in spoilers. But the tenseness, it just wasn't there for me, and that's what I'm saying. It felt almost like it was more of like we're just trying to get from this event to this event and set things up for the next series of
Right.
films. And that's why I'm like, yeah. I mean, it was enjoyable. The other thing I would say really good with this film we haven't talked about was the cinematography.
Oh yeah.
Some of the shot choices and the style that they took, I was really excited and happy with. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the Marvel films in the past have just been very kind of standard and flat and simple, whereas this one felt very much like bright, bold colors,
Yeah.
very much like, the Ragnarok like style that
Yeah.
they've shown of like the I don't know what you call it, like
The like 80s font.
80s font
Yeah.
and like bold disco-esque
Yeah.
type feel of like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I really liked that. And there
Yeah.
was definitely some standout visuals. I think the trailer for this was amazing and made me feel like they were going to go even further with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this is going to be necessarily winning any awards for cinematography, but whereas I would say the old films were maybe like a B, this one was like more like a B plus A minus kind of
Okay.
range for cinematography.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that, but
Yeah.
sorry to sidetrack. I wanted to get that in there as a positive before we kind of moved on.
Yeah, for sure.
But I agree with that negative. I agree. I think overall, other slight negatives for me was the humor.
Okay.
As much as it was good at times, there was just other times where it was like, it was kind of.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
I
Go.
gotcha.
Keep talking though.
I gotcha.
You can keep
No,
going.
that's the biggest thing for me. Was just I felt like I wanted there to be more. The stakes were there, but they didn't feel tense enough. So I didn't feel like what's gonna happen. Like there was a couple moments at the end. I was like, how are they gonna fix this? And then they fix it. And then, but for the most part, that's it. I don't have a lot of other negatives.
Okay.
I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
There was they introduced a couple new characters.
Yeah.
I think I'm guessing she's going to be sort of like the love interest that we have now
I got that vibe too.
from Valkyrie.
But we'll see.
Tessa's character.
We'll see.
As much as I liked her in the film, I also didn't feel like she had a very necessary story arc.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of felt a little bit tacked on to me.
Yeah, felt like they had some other scenes that they didn't put in the film that would have added to her.
Yeah, I
arc.
wanted a bit, because it goes back to that point of like the significance of the film. I wanted a bit more time to kind of live in the characters and live in the world and experience what it is that they were trying to overcome and just give like a beat, a breath, give a moment of like contemplation, where they have to like ponder something or make a tough decision. There was a bit of that at the end, close to the end, which I don't want to spoil, with one of the characters.
Sure.
That ends up being, he has to make a significant decision, like what side he's going to kind of choose to be on. But like for her character, and I will kind of spoil this. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but
We'll
wait.
we'll just hang on.
I'm just with her character in particular. Everything felt so just like everything's just happening,
Right.
And it kind of felt that same way with everybody.
Okay.
And everybody kind of like there was a couple minor moments where like there was a little bit of tension or a little bit of like, oh, bad past or bad thing, but it was like so quickly like, all right, moving on to the next thing. So yeah, and I would say the other thing with the humor, and I know I'm complaining a lot here, but this is our complaining section in a sense. Yeah. So sorry. The humor, not only does it wasn't that funny to me, I think the big thing was it was just very predictable at times.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was like, oh, okay, that's about to happen. Oh, that happens. Okay, that's funny. Oh, they're going to say some awkward line or they're going to flub this, or I could see it coming from like a mile away, whereas with Guardians, there was so many moments where that was like that,
Yeah.
but it was still funny. But there was a lot of moments where I had no idea, like, what? I did not see that coming, and that was hilarious. So,
Oh man, yeah. I'm curious to see how our score is going to differ on this guy. I guess what other negatives? Anything else you can think of?
no.
That's really it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give my score first?
Yeah, you go ahead.
I am going to rate Thor Ragnarok a 93.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm giving it an 85.
Okay. Hey,
So
we did.
we're
That's not
like
as
divergent.
big of a rift. I think we had a bigger rift with Homecoming.
Probably for
Yeah.
Homecoming, yeah. That's
Or
such a good question.
or Book of
Because I
Henry.
didn't like Homecoming. I liked this film.
Yeah,
I
okay,
really didn't
okay.
like Homecoming. The more I thought about it, maybe I might even rank that one a little lower.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, time does that sometimes. It changes your perspective on it and
It
stuff.
does. Yeah, with age, you mature into your perspectives. Maybe that's a good way of putting it.
But let's do this. We're going to get into spoilers here. And if you have not seen Thor Ragnarok, go ahead and shut this off. Stop watching the videos. Stop listening. We're done with the non-spoiler. We're getting into the spoiler section. So if you listen past this point, it's just your fault at this point. So we're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Thor dies.
No, but Odin dies. I thought you were gonna say Odin, because he actually does die.
Yeah, Odin dies.
He doesn't really even die. He kind of just. He's like
he like Yoda's out of there, like Force Ghosts out of there.
That's a good way of putting it. He just kind of floats into the wind.
Yeah,
and it's like, the particles, and then, as with all like mentor type characters, they always make like whenever they die in the beginning of a film, they will always reappear somewhere throughout, like Yoda, or Obi-Wan. Of course, he died at the end, but. They always make a reoccurring thing, and it was just funny to see him. He's like, I am now in this heavenly cloud place, which is actually Scotland, I guess. The cliffs of Dover, I think that's what that was.
Couple things. What I was mentioning earlier that I was laughing out loud, like I couldn't contain myself.
Yeah.
Was when Mark Ruffalo's like, all right, you're going to get ready for this. He jumps out. He just like lands on the
bridge. That was the funniest part, I think, of the whole movie. Because... That was the thing about that is I knew that was going to happen. Like I knew, but there was like a little bit of me that was like, well, he's probably just going to be like, ow. But he was like out.
Like it looked like his bones broke.
Right,
and, like, he was dead.
Like it was funny when it hit because of the way it looked, and I kind of giggled. But then when they showed him and he's like dead, and the dog's like, I was like, wow, he's like dead. Like that was what was so funny about it to me.
Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard, and it's like I got to be quiet because I don't want to like ruin this for people next to me. But it was so funny.
Yeah, I mean that was probably the funniest part for me too. What was it that you felt like twist-wise?
It wasn't really a twist, and I guess you're right. It's not really a twist, but it's more of like the story arc. I liked how the opener of the movie was like this guy threatening, Ragnarok on Asgard, and then Thor like stops him.
Gotcha.
And then at the very end, they're like, all right, you know what? Let's just let this dude like destroy Asgard, and that's the only way we can kill Hela. And I was like, oh, that's a cool way to tie it in full circle. But yeah, it's not really a twist.
Gotcha.
It's more of just a kind of a cool storytelling arc that I really thought was cool. But other than that, cameo Matt Damon.
That was probably the other part that I thought was really funny.
Matt Damon?
That I will say though, that really took me out of the movie when that happened. It just immediately I'm like, okay, Matt Damon, and because he's been embroiled in all that stuff happening, with Weinstein and stuff. Excuse me. It just so took me out of the movie.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was funny, but
what's funnier though?
What?
So Matt Damon was playing Loki.
Yeah.
But who was playing Thor was Luke Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth's older, not as chiseled
his
brother.
Slightly smudgier brother. I'm going to say smudgier in the nicest of ways.
Which was so hilarious.
Yeah.
And then Sam Neill was playing Odin.
Yeah.
And then, you're right. I totally forgot. Zach Levi was in it. His character dies.
Very briefly. I didn't even see him. Supposedly he dies. He is listed in the credits here, but
he gets killed. Yeah, and it's because he got cast in DC property, and that's probably why they're like, you gotta go.
Yeah, they just kill you off if you.
And then, what was it? Oh, I liked Stephen Strange in this. It seems like he's really gotten a grip of his powers. Like he's going to be formidable and somebody you want on your team when you go and fight Thanos in the future.
Right, he's a big part of that Infinity War arc.
Right, and I think he's going to be like the man,
right,
like for a lot of that.
Yeah. What was it? Did you say there was something that like made you angry or got you upset? I thought you said there was something in the beginning that got you angry. Maybe I'm mistaken. I thought there was something you said that we were going to talk about, but we've talked about a couple of them.
No, I was a little concerned up front. I thought maybe it was going to. That's where I thought it was going to get too jokey for me, but I liked it. I mean, it wasn't too much for me.
So the one thing I want to circle back to a little bit is maybe the humor, but I also want to talk about Valkyrie's character.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that was one thing I wanted to circle back to. It really felt like with her, they did a very poor job in the sense of making me connect with her in a relatable fashion.
Okay.
I understood that, everybody that around her had been attacked, but they never really made me see, they never really helped me to understand how she had been suffering so hard or so heavily, I should say, that it caused her to, what I'm guessing she did, just run away.
Right. I see
You
that.
know?
I see that.
Because she just ran away.
Yeah.
And she never has to really deal with that inner demon or that inner issue. And it kind of felt like that way with a lot of the characters, but I think she's the best example of it in the script.
Right.
Something happened prior to the film starting that kind of put her in this predicament, in this situation, and just very quickly it's dealt with, and then we move on to the next set of action.
Yeah.
The same thing with Bruce. You know, we get a bit more of that backstory because of everything that's happened in Avengers, and we've seen that. But the impact...
Bruce?
Yeah, Bruce Banner. Sorry,
Oh, yeah. I was like, who's Bruce?
Sorry, not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Bruce Banner. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Batman.
I forgot. I was like the Hulk. Okay.
So, like, his story arc is that from the Avengers film, he gets on that plane.
Ultron,
and,
yeah.
Ultron, and just decides he's going to more or less let himself
As Hulk.
stay as Hulk because he can't get over his love interest aspect with Black Widow, which I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But he just kind of, he gets upset after he sees the video of Black Widow. He changes back, and then he's just fine. Everything is like, okay, well, like, he's freaked out for a little bit, but then eventually he just decides he's going to be Hulk again, and we never even really deal with that. And it's not even like a struggle. It's like, well, I guess I got to be Hulk again, so I'm going to do it. And then it just kind of happens.
I felt like there was a struggle.
It wasn't really, it was like he looked, and then he thought, and then he was like, all right, okay, I'm going to be Bruce. It wasn't like he even really had to like overly think it. It just kind of happened. It felt like they just had certain things take place because they kind of wanted to put them into place and make them transpire. You know, I'm not saying in a horrible way they did that. I'm just saying that, like, as much as I would have wanted to see that depth of character, I don't think Marvel has ever, in my opinion, been known for creating really deep characters. I think one of the deepest that they've ever gotten was probably Doctor Strange, where they spent that entire portion at the beginning of the film kind of showing you how he's this big-headed guy, and then his kind of the break, and he spent that. But that's mostly the first film. You know, the first film. But then ever since then, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. I feel the same way that you do about Valkyrie, which is interesting to me because they call her Valkyrie, but she's part of the Valkyrie.
Right. Her name is Valkyrie, but she's also part of the Valkyrie, so maybe we just don't know her true name
Yeah,
yet.
I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
Other than that...
but I mean, even a good example of how... Sorry.
No, you're fine.
The way that they just were so offhanded with other things in the script, not just the characters, but the script in general. I mean, Thor loses an eye.
Yeah.
Literally loses an eye. And minus 2 or 3 offhanded joking comments, it's like not even that significant of a thing. I mean, normally in a film, if like a person, like a major character gets their eye chopped out, like that's going to be a heavy weighted thing. But in this film, it's just like, oh, lost an eye.
Oh, it's like his dad. He's like, my dad could do it.
I know, but that's just like, I feel like that's significant. Like,
I feel like it's going to come back or something. It's going to get fixed.
Maybe, but I felt like it's a very significant thing for literally a portion of one of the main character's body appendages to just be lost. And
like
it's
Nick
just
Fury,
treated
man.
kind of as like a joke. And I know, but you don't, it's just, I don't know. It just felt very offhanded and very like I needed a bit more weight to things like that. Like if he's going to lose an eye, like what is the significance? What's the repercussions of something like that? Instead of just having it happen.
And half his vision, Joel. So
the heaviest weight that he had, like the weightiest parts of the film were 2 things.
The Hulk is super weighty.
One was when the city's being destroyed, and it's kind of like, oh crud, like look, the city's being destroyed.
That was a cool picture. Like
right, it was
that
a cool picture,
scene.
but that was like, and that lasted all of like 15 seconds or something like that.
The actual destruction
and
of
then
Asgard.
maybe I would say maybe when Odin dies, but even that is so like done and moved on, and it's like, okay, he's dead now. What? Oh, it's your fault. I'm like, I need some time to just have these characters be in an emotion,
so
be in a state. You know,
I think this is the thing with this movie is that this movie is basically made from the vantage point of, hey, for the most part, you've already kind of been on a journey with a lot of these characters before, so we don't need to spend a lot of time doing like the developmental stuff.
I know, but like...
No, I'm not saying that's necessarily as an excuse. I'm saying I could see that being the thing, and that's probably one of the things that takes it away.
It should make other things more significant. I go back to the eye thing, which is silly to do, but that, if you've been with Thor for as long as we have, the fact that he loses an eye should be a significant aspect. It's like when...
I felt it.
I don't know.
I felt significance lost. I was like, oh, dang, he lost his eye. He also got stabbed in the back, but...
Yeah. I don't know.
I will say this. This is what made Thor cool again. This is what I was talking about. This made Thor cool. He was legit God of Thunder. He doesn't have his hammer basically the whole movie.
I thought that was great. Yeah.
All that action stuff where he's like basically Raiden from Mortal Kombat and he's just like lightning all over the place.
Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Who's that character from Big Trouble Little China? I forget who like rides the lightning bolts.
Yeah, but I was like, that was some really sweet action. I was like, that is cool. And he just basically.
I thought that was good. I thought that was a good story arc for him that he kind of had to overcome. I thought Thor, I think out of everybody, was probably the best story arc. Yeah. Which is important because he's, the main character of Thor. So he had a really good story arc there. It was just other aspects like that. I mean, I would say the other kind of most significant moment was, I forget his name, Scourge. Played by Carl Urban. He has to make that decision. We talked about this where he's going to either save some people's lives.
Des and Troy.
Yeah, is he gonna stand up for? Yeah, exactly. Is he gonna stand up for the people from Asgard, or is he gonna kind of do his own thing? And he decides that he's gonna do it. That was like one of the weightiest moments of the whole film. I need more moments like that where he's watching this guy die. It didn't necessarily need slow-mo, but like he's thinking about it. He's watching these people die. He's pondering what he's done. He sees the kid screaming and crying, and he's like, I need to do something. And then he busts out his 2 AKs, which was pretty awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty fun. But I just needed a bit more of that. And I think it would have elevated this film from that B range to more of an A range for me. And then the last thing, which we talked a bit about, but I can give maybe a couple of specific examples now, was more the humor. Oh, man. Some good examples were like, I knew like when Hulk threw they made Thor into this kind of like somewhat bro-y, like stupid guy at times, and like when Hulk throws him that ball and he's like, oh, he's gonna throw it, and I'm like, it's gonna bounce right back in his face and hit him, you know what I mean? Like, and that happened, and then it was like, oh, very funny, and they're gonna shock him again because he's got a shocker on his thing, and it's like just predicting that humor and seeing it coming made it not quite as funny. There was still plenty of moments, like I said, that like the bridge landing scene was hilarious, or non-landing, I guess you would call it.
Basically, it looks like all of his bones are broken when he lands.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was really funny. Korg for the most part was fun. You're the new Doug. Oh, yeah. The last Doug's dead. I tried to do a revolution.
He's dead. I just felt bad, so I've been carrying him around the last several hours.
Oh, look, he's not dead. Yeah, or like I tried to do a revolution, but only my mom and her boyfriend shows up, and I hate that guy. Like, I thought that kind of stuff was funny because it was unexpected.
Yeah, it's Taika. That's like him, with his lines and stuff. So I'm just improving. I liked it. I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to go too far into this. I could go into examples with Idris Elba's character and how I felt like he was just kind of again there for being along the ride.
This is his best role as that character. It
was the most weighty.
Yeah.
But there wasn't really any. Again, it was kind of like at the beginning of the film we find out he's just kind of missing.
It felt very Lord of the Rings to me.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe because I kind of blocked out the what is it? The Dark, not the movie, not the Dark Tower. The one Dark.
Oh, Dark World.
Dark World.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe there's something that happened in that I'm totally forgetting about with him, and that's why he's gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I liked him. I felt Lord of the Rings to me when he was helping the people in the woods. I was like, oh, he's like Aragorn slicing people. But
yeah,
anyway.
I think that's part of it. Maybe. I mean, the other film that I've seen Taika do that I didn't really like, not that I didn't like this film, but one of the films that I've seen that he did that I didn't really like was Eagle vs. Shark. And it had some semblances of that humor to me that I didn't really enjoy. Maybe it's just his humor style. Maybe sometimes he doesn't just hit me quite the way that it's funny for me. It might be like a humor thing.
No, I gotcha.
Maybe I got issues, Matt.
It's possible.
Do I have
entirely possible?
Do I have issues?
Lots of issues.
Yeah.
It's all good. But that's it. I really enjoyed it. I know you didn't like it as much as I did.
Spoiler talk. Anything about the action? Did you want to talk about spoilery?
No, the action was just the stuff that I really want to talk about. Was that Thor has lightning powers now? He doesn't need his hammer.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll ever get that back because that's kind of iconic.
It is pretty iconic. I don't know. You can't really.
He doesn't need it.
I guess you could carry on a lightning bolt or something like that. But
maybe he just makes a new one. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought the action was good. I mean, again, it's kind of like
Hela shooting all the like blades out of her
She was
hands.
awesome.
That was crazy.
Yeah, she was awesome. I liked a lot of the fights, although they were a bit like, okay, he's just gonna. I would have liked it actually if he'd had a few more arena fights before Hulk. I think it would have been fun if he kind of like had to work his way up to Hulk instead of going straight into challenging like the championship guy. Right. If he had to fight like a 6-arm like slob monster or something like that and been like, oh, like that, I could have enjoyed a little bit more. And I think that's the other part we talked about in the beginning of the review. I felt like a lot of the stuff that was on the planet, I wanted a bit more time to kind of get into that world of the planet. Yeah. Instead of just interacting with the characters that are interacting with things in the world. Like, give me that world, give me the culture of that world. And it just felt like I only got a small little taste of it.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if you felt that way.
No, I enjoyed myself and had really great moments of laughter and like spectacle action. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other movie. The movie that just came out a little bit ago with Dane DeHaan, the City of a Thousand Planets. Valerian and City of a Thousand Planets. As much as that movie kind of stunk at times because it was just ridiculously stupid. Yeah, the plot. That movie did a good job of really getting you into the worlds. And the worlds that they travel to and the different places that they travel to. Right. This film, I don't feel like did a great enough job really getting me into that world enough,
I gotcha.
So that was just a minor gripe. That's another thing that probably would have taken this film into like an A level.
Oh, really? A level. Well, hey, you got anything else like you want to add to the spoilery section?
No, I think I'm good.
Cool. Well, guys, that is going to wrap up our review of Thor Ragnarok. Definitely curious, though, as to what you guys thought about it. If you guys got a chance to see it this past weekend, if you enjoyed it, if you have thoughts on it, if you thought it was funny, too jokey, or if you thought there wasn't enough action, or I don't know. Let me know either way. Let us know kind of what your thoughts were. I'd be curious to hear your kind of opinion on that. And then also remember, you can connect with us on our social media, Twitter, Instagram, at Real Review Media, at our website, realreviewmedia.com, and then youtube.com/The Real Review, and Facebook as well. But yeah, definitely let us know what's up with that. And we got a couple of other shows coming up later this week. But yeah, anything else you want to add, Joel?
Something smells like toast. Burnt toast.
The melty stick. That's right. Yeah,
the melty stick. Yep. Okay. Other than that, nope, I'm good.
Well, it's been real.
It's been real.